Good morning. Welcome to TERRA at Home. It's a beautiful summer morning. I'm here with Colleen from TERRA. And we've already had earlier on in the season, we've had some drought issues, and that's what happens sometimes as we make our way through summer and into the fall. We can come across serious drought issues, and even in the shade. We were talking, before the show, that you can even have drought in the shade.
Definitely, there is such thing as dry shade. So.
Yeah, exactly. So people have big questions, okay, you're taking care of what you currently have, but what if you want to plant something in the middle of the season? Often it doesn't survive because people don't follow the right protocol. So let's talk a little bit about maybe some of the tips if we're just starting off with plant life.
Plant life. There are lots of different things that can tolerate drier conditions. So first off, choosing a plant that is drought tolerant or doesn't need as much maintenance is a good idea. So on the annual end of things, marigolds, very popular.
They're pretty tough, aren't they?
They're pretty tough. Love the heat, love the sun, not a problem. Also some other things like this is called pentas, and the blue flowers towards you are the salvia. So with those, you'll get all summer long blooms. They don't take a lot of water, not a lot of maintenance, and you can get color all summer long.
Okay.
On the perennial aspect of things, sedums do really well. You've got the cone flowers in the back there. And for dry shade, hostas are great.
Hostas are amazing, aren't they?
They can go pretty much anywhere. They can go in containers, they can go under a tree, they can go in any shady area, and they are quite tolerant of almost any conditions.
And I love one thing I love about hostas is the variations. I mean, you can get from the tiniest little ones to big explosive balls that look so cool. So there are a lot of options with them, and they actually, again, with the white tip, but there's so many different variations even in colors, so they're quite nice.
Yeah, they add a lot of texture and a lot of color without having to count on a flower color. The other nice thing with them too is that no matter what the size of your garden, there are dwarf hostas as well as gigantic hostas, to fill in any space.
Yeah, it really helps a lot. Okay, so you also were mentioning that the size of the container. So if you're getting maybe a flower, a plant, whether it's an annual or perennial, that's actually established just a little bit more, that's going to obviously help as well. So it's not quite so young.
Yes. Typically you don't want to have to plant in the middle of the summer in the heat, but if you do, you're having a dinner party, you need some color, try to choose something that's a little bit larger size. So stay away from the little small cell packs that you can get and get something that's more established.
Okay. Yeah, that's right, because you get those little guys, and if you can find them by the time you get into that deep in the season, but they're not going to make it very high. I've tried.
Yeah, not so much.
It's hard.
These are also great because it's instant gratification.
Yeah,
They're already established. You've got tons of flowers on them. They have an established root system, which is the important part for survival in the heat. So they are going to resist the drought a lot better, as well as the fact that they have a more dense root system, so they're going to be able to suck up the water, suck up the nutrients, and be able to withstand the heat.
Okay, that makes sense. Now moving into, sometimes in the middle of the season, people are doing landscaping. So getting into, bushes, shrubs, trees, though that's scary for people because it's a bigger investment, right? So if you're getting a big tree, whether, it's a Japanese maple or a cedar or whatever it may be, or birch, it's scary because it could die. It might not make it. And I've seen people think they've taken all the steps and it still just doesn't work. So what are some tips there?
Same principles apply.
Really?
The more established plant will do a lot better. Again, it's got a better root system, so it's going to survive a lot better that way. It's going to be able to uptake the moisture. Fertilizing is another very important thing. Using a transplant fertilizer, that gets the little tiny root systems going so that it can reduce transplant shock, because it is a shock going from a pot into the ground. So in using that helps out a lot. And even when you're watering, it's important to try to water just at the soil level rather than watering over top of the plant.
Okay.
So using like a watering wand or a typical watering gun, just use like a light sprinkle, not like the jet propelled one, but just around, just
take
around
the whole
base.
heads right off your plants.
Exactly.
It's never nice.
Just use like at the base of the plant, so you're not wasting the water on the top of the plant. You're getting it to where the plant needs it most.
Now I understand too, if you're watering, especially in sunlight, if you're watering top of the plant, you can actually burn the leaves or the petals, right? If there's water's sitting on top.
It can affect it. The more important thing, though, with keeping the leaves dry is to keep diseases away. Because with having moisture on the top of the plant, sometimes if it gets stuck in there, it'll start to rot a little bit.
Really?
Or you can also get problems with powdery mildew or black spots. Different funguses like that moisture and the heat. So
well, that makes sense, right? It just almost perpetuates the problem.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, especially too, if you have some dead petals or dead leaves, and they're kind of just get mushy, and then the water's sitting in there and the heat. Okay, so very good. So again, lots of steps to kind of think about when you're making your way through, whether it's from plant life too. I think people underestimate. We touched a little bit on the fertilizer, but people seem to underestimate. As you're watering too, you're washing away a lot of that fertilizer as well, right?
Yes.
So you kind of have to keep on that.
Yeah, and it's important to know the two different types of fertilizer. There's a liquid fertilizer that you water on your plant on a regular basis. That gives the instant boost to your plant. So it's important to use that, particularly in the first month of planting your plant, to repeat that transplant fertilizer to keep it going. The granular fertilizer that you spread on top of the soil, it's slow release. So it's going to take a while for it to release and for the plant to get the full benefits of it. So it is important to use the water soluble when you're watering.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. Now, what about edible plants? Is that something that you can do mid-season, or is that just ridiculous because of the fact that they need a certain period of time to do their thing?
It's all about whether you can find them or not, because it is a little bit more difficult to find them, but same thing with that. Usually you can find some larger size plants.
Okay, so again, more established.
Yep. That kind of idea, as well as you can find like herbs and things like that.
Sure.
And there are some crops that later in the summer you can do like a second seeding of them in your garden. So you can actually start some from seed, like some fast crops like your spinaches and your lettuces and things like that.
Yeah, okay.
So then you can have a second crop.
Wow, okay. All right. So any other tips that we can think of that we can kind of get people just sort of geared around? Ideally, you don't want to plant maybe in the drought if you're really if you have dry soil. I guess you also have to consider where you live and how much sun you're getting, right? I mean, obviously, if you're getting intense sun throughout the day, you have to kind of like maybe look at certain plants just aren't even going to make it.
Exactly, yeah. Knowing your conditions is very important. And whether it's sunny, whether it's sunny in the afternoon or sunny in the morning, that's also important, because afternoon sun is a lot hotter, a lot more intense than morning sun. So you can get away with more things in morning sun than you can in afternoon sun.
Oh, really?
It's a lot more forgiving.
Oh, really? So the afternoon sun's it's just hotter,
it's
right?
Intense.
Because we're hitting peak temperatures around about 2 in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
So once you're getting into that, and if you know that that's when the sun is in your backyard or your front yard, then you're really going to have to be careful, especially if you planted.
Yes, that's a lot more important.
Yeah, I know that even transplanting, as we're talking about trees and moving trees, some trees are more sensitive than others as well, right? And you're saying it's actually can be really shocking to the tree. People don't really think about it, but they're almost like a little person, right? Like they're really shocked by a change of system and soil and water conditions.
Yeah, if at all possible, if you are transplanting, spring and fall are the best times for that. I wouldn't recommend doing it in the middle of the summer, but if you are planting, it's a little bit different because they are already contained within that pot.
Okay.
So it's a little bit less stressful than if you're transplanting an established plant.
Okay, that makes sense. So basically, if you are planning on doing major landscaping and you're going to be changing your entire front, best to leave it maybe at this point till the fall, and
I think so.
And the temperatures cool a little bit, and you have a little more control and a little more moisture coming through. So,
definitely.
All right, very good. Well, thanks, Colleen. Some good tips here again at TERRA. We're at the Waterdown location, and we'll be back with more after this quick break. Please stay with us.
Live color fully at TERRA, where color lives.
It's time to grow a great garden. It's time for Miracle Grow Expand and Grow, the innovative new planting mix. Expand and Grow expands with water, loosening your soil and giving your plant's roots a balanced mix of air, moisture, and Miracle Grow plant food for up to 3 times the vegetables and flowers. Guaranteed. Miracle Grow, at the root of a great garden.
Heritage Perennials presents TERRA's Perennial Pick of the Week. Luna Red is an especially compact hibiscus with giant saucer-shaped red flowers. The hotter and drier the better. Heritage Perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Welcome back to Terra at Home. Oh boy, we're in a beautiful region here today. We're at the Good Earth Food and Wine Co. And I am here with a winemaker. They call you Dr. Dre. I love it.
They don't actually.
Andrea Glass. It's so great to meet you and to be hanging out here with you. So we're pulling you out of your element and putting you here in front of me on camera and talk about your experiences. Now, you were brought in 2010 when they brought everything on site to produce wines here. And that's your expertise. So how did that come to play for you?
Well, I grew up in Jordan originally on a vineyard.
Oh, you did?
So it kind of was always something I was around. Didn't really think of it career-wise and just sort of fell into it. I went to Niagara College and graduated in 2007 from there, and then spent the last few years traveling, working around local wineries, and then moved back home in June of 2010.
That's a good story though, right? Because you're local and you went to Niagara College and everything. It shows that it works.
Exactly. So, you know, I figured it was time to come home. I spent some time in California and in Argentina, and yeah, met Nicolette and sort of fell into this place. And
yeah, this is a great
very
place to fall
mean,
into,
so.
isn't it? Yeah, it seems like it is. It seems that I mean, I love Nicolette. She's so comfortable. I mean, this is her baby, right? And this is where she lives and works and breathes. And you can see that you all have a certain way about you. It's just really easy
We're all
going.
a little weird. But it's really just a big extension of her home. And, you know, she's done a great job of, you know, kind of pulling together this crew of somewhat unique people.
I know, but that's what's great about it, right? And it just keeps expanding and morphing and growing. And of course, the addition of really having the wine here. Obviously, you can come sit down and have a beautiful lunch, a meal. It's just wonderful. Wood-burning outdoor ovens, which we'll venture to next. But we should talk about some of the wines. This time of year, people want to sit down to a nice glass of white. A lot of people, even people who drink reds on a regular basis, will venture into the whites, right?
It's true. And here, you know, most of our stuff is outside, so a lot of our wines are meant to go with that light, crisp, fun summer fare. You know, I always say about, for example, the rosé, if you would eat something outside, it probably pairs well with the rosé.
Okay.
So that's the whole feel here, and that's kind of the style that we've made the wines in.
Makes sense. All right, so what's the first one we're going to look
So
at?
the first one I'm going to pour for you, this is new to the Good Earth, so it's our 2011 Betty's Blend. We haven't done a white blend before, so we thought it'd be something kind of fun and just going for, again, light and crisp and fresh. So Betty is actually Nicolette's mother, and if any of you have ever met Betty, you want to know her. As soon as she walks into the room, she's this big, fabulous Hungarian woman who's tall and gorgeous and you know, always dressed to the nines. So it was pretty obvious as to what we were going to call the blend.
That's really cool. She's got to be pretty honored about that, huh?
Oh, we didn't tell her, and then we told her at a winemaker's dinner in front of 30 or 40 people or whatever it was, and so she was pretty blown away.
Oh, that's great. She's an awesome girl. Good character, that one.
So this wine is 50% Chardonnay, which comes from Lincoln Lakeshore, so that's the sub-appellation we're in right now. And then 25% Riesling, which is from on site, the vineyard just in the back, and 25% Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh, wonderful. Very light color, right?
Yeah.
Very light color.
And again, most of it was fermented in stainless steel. A little bit of the Sauv Blanc did see some barrel and some lee stirring to kind of give it a little bit more oomph, if you will.
Sure.
But yeah.
It smells like summer to me. It just does. It has that nice scent. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
So we did it for our winemaker's dinner and paired it with just like a really simple beet salad, you know, a little bit of goat cheese, just fresh is sort of the whole concept.
Yeah, you can picture that with it. Just it's very light and nice and fresh. I love that. Okay, so that's a good compliment. The Betty.
Well, that's what we decided calling it. It's just been the Betty.
Yeah, really?
Oh, I'll have a case of the Betty and whatever. So.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay, let's see what's next. Ah, the Sauv Blanc.
And so this is also in 2011 was a new thing that we did. We'd never made Sauv Blanc before.
And these are just freshly released,
yeah,
right?
So they were bottled at the end of March and released in June.
So you guys just decided, you know, slowly expanding, right? I mean, that's the process.
You know, because we're small, our focus is still Chardonnay, Riesling, Pinot, and Cab Franc.
Right.
But sometimes it's fun to play with something. So I added Sauv Blanc to the portfolio last year. I really love Sauv Blanc. I like to drink it. I like to make it. It's fun. So yeah, it was a little addition that kind of I brought on when I started that showcases, you know, my style as well as the Good Earth.
Well, that's nice though that they allow you to really add your personality and style to it, and I mean, obviously, if you like it, you know, that's the way.
Well, and that's the thing, right? So It's made sort of in that halfway between that crisp New Zealand and then that rich French style.
Okay,
you know,
yep.
there was a bunch of different ferments going on, some in stainless steel, some in barrel, different yeasts, and then all put together to make this single varietal Sauv Blanc, as well as a component for the blend.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Okay. That's nice. That's a nice Sauv Blanc. That has just a nice flavor to it. As you say, it has that little bit of a French influence to it, right? So it gives it a little bit of...
A little rounder,
Little
and then
rounder.
there's just a touch of residual sugar, just about 5 grams, so it's not bone dry. But I think that really just kind of rounds it out. And
Yeah, it does. Very nice. Okay. All right, so now are we going to move on to the rosé?
The rosé.
The rosé.
So
People love the rosé.
people do love the rosé.
I hear chat about this.
Yeah, so it's 100% Cab Franc. In the past, there was always a touch of Pinot, but this in 2011 went 100% Cab Franc, which are these vines right behind us, as well as the small block in front of Nicolette's house. So it was.
Now, is that a daring move for you to change up something that's working, or is it
Well,
just because
the whole-
every year's different, right?
Well, it was every year is different. In the past, that little tiny couple percent of Pinot made it the way it was. This year, it didn't need it. It was very similar to the year before.
Wow.
The color was the color I needed, so it just didn't need that little.
It's quite the little
bump from
science, though,
anything
right?
else. Exactly, 'cause
you really have to use your judgment.
This is one of the main products where consistency for us is important. You know, people want this rosé. They don't want me
Right.
to go crazy and make, even if it's delicious,
that's the
they're
thing.
looking for this product.
Yeah,
So
and that's the thing that's scary for any company is you have to watch what change you make if
Yeah.
things are working.
So
Right?
they've all been slightly different, but it's really just the vintage that has made that different.
So people can accept that difference, right? And that's the thing. It's wine, right? That's what's going to happen.
So it's 100% Cab Franc.
Oh.
It's a drier rosé. Again, a couple little grams of residual sugar, but not much. It goes, you know, the wood-fired pizza oven, all those things are kept in mind when making the wines.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that you can tell that would, as you say, as you mentioned off the top, you know, the rosé works. Anything you're eating outside.
Exactly,
you
whether
can-
it's barbecue salads.
Yeah.
it's
It
gonna
carries
work.
it. You can tell it's got enough base to it. It carries it. Something that you can. Oh, no, that's really good.
It's not the wimp rosé. You know, we always get people that come in, oh, I don't drink rosé.
No.
It's like, just try it.
Just try.
Like,
No, it's good. It's got
tasting
some-
fees are on me. Just try it. So.
Now we're going to move on to the last one before we run out of time. This is in the LCBO, which is great. It's easy,
This is in
accessible
a
for
few
people.
vintage stores. This is our 2009 medium dry Riesling. This is, again, one of our most popular wines. Just off dry, delicious, really easy drinking.
Yeah, generally people, you know, will like a good Riesling as long as, as you say, off dry. Gets just a little bit, and I'll do a quick little taste here. Lovely. Lovely. Oh, unfortunately, we're out of time. Oh, boy, what am I going to do? Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's really fun. Again, people can come down here for lunch, have yourself a glass, and it's a good one.
Yep.
This is Andrea.
Thanks
She's a
for
winemaker.
coming.
She knows her stuff. That's it for now. We'll be back with more Terra at Home.
Come and explore the new Terra, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Welcome back to Terra at Home in the kitchen with Chef Rachel, and adding to our summer menu, today we're making crab cakes.
Yes, yeah, one of my favorite appetizers, so it's a nice summer snack.
It is, and it's great also to pair them up with a giant salad as a meal if you really want to,
Yeah.
right? Because again,
Yep.
people just don't really feel like eating a lot of heavy food in the summer. I don't know why. I think it's the heat. People just don't eat very much sometimes,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I agree
This
with
is
you.
nice. This is a nice idea. See, I like how you have everything chopped so finely.
Right, so in this case, we're not going to be cooking any of the vegetables separately, so I tried to cut the peppers as fine as I could. There's another recipe that I do sometimes, same basic ingredients, but I just saute up the peppers first.
Okay, but this one you don't have to
and
do
they
any
don't
of
have
that.
to be as small.
Yeah.
So this one, just as long as they're small, they go right in and then they'll cook in the fry pan.
Okay.
But fairly simple once you have everything measured out here, and we just want to mix everything together. So we'll start with an egg, and that will help to bind everything.
Yep.
Then we've got some mayonnaise. So basically, I'll just tell you what I'm putting in here as I do it.
Okay.
A little bit of lemon juice. Start to mix it up. Some red pepper flakes.
Oh, I don't think I've had red pepper flakes in crab cakes before. Are they automatically in there? I just don't know it.
No, not all recipes have them.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll just put a couple dashes of Tabasco.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
another thing that I
okay.
do.
Okay.
But in this case, we'll do some red
Yummy.
pepper flakes.
That'll be good. That'll
Yeah.
add to your chipotle mayo you're going to make later.
Yes.
Add to the intensity and the flavor.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, a little bit of parsley.
Yep.
Put a tablespoon or so. Okay, then we have some green onion.
That'd be nice.
Again, about a tablespoon. Our peppers, so probably about half a red, half a green pepper in there.
Wow, so that seems like a lot to me that you put in there, eh? But that must just add probably some really nice moisture to it too, right? And keep you don't want a dry crab cake, but
No.
and then that'll give a really great flavor. Wow.
Yeah, lots of different flavors here. On the contrary to that, though, you don't want it to be too moist.
Too wet, yeah.
So you want to have enough breadcrumbs to add in to kind of get the right consistency that you're looking for.
Okay.
So I'll pass that over
Sure.
to you if you don't mind. Okay, so then this is our crab. This is about 8 ounces of lump crab meat. You can buy it in many different ways, but this is just from a can. So like I said, make sure you drain this quite well because you don't want it to be too liquidy.
So I mean that's really handy to have it coming from a can. Obviously, I mean you can get those, when you've probably made them where you can like the lump crab meat, like the real thick lumps, because you're actually. Have you ever made it right? Deshelling and putting it in.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of a nice way too. But this is obviously a really convenient way to do it.
Yep.
This is nice.
So whatever you prefer. This is a little quicker.
Oh yeah.
I would say.
Less time consuming for sure. That's why you have to have an assistant.
And we'll season with some salt and pepper, and then I'm going to add in some breadcrumbs. So I'm just going to add slowly and mix just so I get the consistency that I'm looking for.
So you said you're using panko crumbs instead. So you prefer that? Like, obviously you've made it with different types of breadcrumbs before, but do you prefer panko?
I do. I use panko a lot. It's just a coarser breadcrumb, crunchier. So I'm going to put them in the panko before we fry them too, so they give you a nice crunchy, crisp outside as well.
Okay, so you just kind of have to judge it, moisture-wise, that you've got the right consistency.
Right. Like I can just feel and I can see by looking at it that I think I need a little bit more breadcrumb. You want it to be fairly stiff so they'll form into nice cakes.
Okay.
So there you go.
Good.
It's simple mixture.
Easy.
You can add in some other chopped up vegetables if you like, different herbs and spices.
Yeah, these are nice because they're quite colorful by having the peppers, the red and green peppers in there. So that's really, really easy. Now, one thing I was noticing that you have here, this is cool. This is always the chef tools, right? Is having every single diameter.
A circle.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like this is awesome, from little tiny ones to massive. So you said you're going to go a little bigger today than you normally do. Probably just for our sake, so we could eat them.
Yeah, normally I make little ones,
Kind of
so
nice size ones.
they're bite sized.
Yeah, which is great. That's a great way for entertaining. You were saying you probably do about that normally, but you're going to go a little bigger today.
Yes.
So, okay, so next step.
So it's all mixed, so next step is to just form them.
Okay.
So you obviously don't need these to form them, but it just gives me a guide, so I like to use it.
Yeah.
We can get our pan heating up because we want that to be nice and hot to fry them. So basically, get our hands dirty. We get in there, and what I do is I just put it in my mold
Okay.
and push it down.
Yeah, because I mean, as you say, you can do them with your hand too, but
Yeah.
this is actually a nice way to get consistency, especially if you're having people over and you want them to look extra good.
Yes, if you do have these, that's what it is good for.
Yeah.
So I just go
Oh, you
like
make
that.
them about that, okay.
And
That's cute.
And
And,
then have a
then
crab
more
cake.
breadcrumbs just before you put them in, you said, right?
right. So then what I do from here is I have my bowl or
Bring it
your
over.
plate
Okay.
of more panko, and I just no breading station, no egg, none of that stuff. Just a little bit of panko on the outside, and then it goes right into the pan like that. You can
Awesome.
deep fry them as well too if you have a deep fryer at home, which I do sometimes as well.
Do you? Okay.
And that works really
Makes
well.
them extra crispy. Yeah, so I guess you want that oil to be really, really hot, so you're almost like searing the outside of it, right?
Yeah, you want to get that color, and you want the breadcrumbs to
And because
stick.
technically being crab meat, it's cooked, so you're good to go. So really, you're just heating it up and getting, as you say, the look of it and the crunch.
Exactly. So let's make another one here.
Okay. Yeah, these are great. Really fun.
There we
really
go.
easy to make. I'm gonna try these sometime.
Oh,
Love it.
We're falling apart a bit. Okay, yeah, because you want to make sure that it's if it's too wet, if there's too much moisture, that's when you're going to find it's
fall
going to
apart?
fall apart. That's why you want to make sure that you have enough breadcrumbs in there. So we'll
Okay.
try this one. And sometimes it just takes testing to see, right?
yeah.
So there you go. It
Yeah.
broke a bit, so we can
Yeah.
throw it back in there and add
And
some
try
more
again.
breadcrumbs. That's
Yeah,
what I would do.
Sure, why not? Okay.
Let's throw this one in here and
Yeah,
get it
let's
going.
see how.
And then
So
I'm gonna
again, you're basically looking just to create the outside flip and done. Like you're not putting them in there for a long time.
no, probably a couple minutes per side.
Okay.
Kind of want to hear that sizzle, so that's how you can cook them all up.
All right.
And we can make our chipotle mayonnaise when we come
All
back.
right, let's do that. So we'll let these cook. We'll make some more, and we'll come back and do the finishing touches. We'll be right back.
Live color fully at Terra, where color lives.
Well, welcome back to Terra at Home, finishing up our crab cakes and chipotle mayo.
Yes.
So I like what you've done here. You've done a nice little variety. We showed off the other sides that you said you like to do. Crab poppers.
Yeah, exactly.
They
One
look
bite.
so great. We were just like commenting on how great the colors look in the crab cakes with the peppers shining through, and of course, nice crisp. And
Yeah.
they look good. Very good.
you.
Okay, so mayo. This part's actually really easy.
Simple.
Yeah.
Simple. So I use chipotle peppers, though you can get chipotle flavored Tabasco sauce too, which is also a good idea as well. You can just put some of that in the mayonnaise for a chipotle flavor.
Yeah.
These are actual chipotle peppers. They come in a can, like I said, in adobo sauce, and they're a
They
little
smell so good, so smoky.
they're a little messy, but and I'm not sure that we're going to need this whole pepper actually, because they are quite strong. But in any case, we will
We'll do it anyway.
chop it up. Chop it up as fine as you can.
Okay.
And basically, it just forms like a paste almost. And we'll just mix that in with the mayonnaise.
so good.
It's actually all these seeds.
Yeah,
That's
so
what actually gives you that heat. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll just do it, right?
So like I said, we'll just maybe do a little bit at a time, and just mix it in.
Great.
Another thing that I like to do that's a little bit different than this, and I have done it on the show before. I served it with sweet potato fries last year.
Yeah.
Is mayonnaise, and you just put in some Cajun seasoning, some
Okay,
Cajun
that's a good
spice in
idea.
there for a Cajun mayonnaise. But I like a little spice to go with the crab cake. I think
that
it's
works
a good
perfectly.
addition.
And again, you can serve these with the side salad or just pick away and
Yeah.
have them as hors d'oeuvres.
Exactly.
Very
You
good.
can
Of course,
serve this
all
on
the
the-
recipes you can find on terragreenhouses.com, and really easy to find. And we're easy to find every 5:30 every Saturday morning. So thanks, Rachel. This is
Thank you.
good. I can't wait to try these. That's it for today. Have yourself a great weekend.